You know those green spongy cakes that you see kind of in the shape of a dome on the interwebs? We tried making that for you.
Bánh bò, Nướng to be exact,
Translates to cow cake, honeycomb cake.
or crawl cake, but we'll talk more about that later. Get ready for a sweet treat.
Enjoy! While you're preparing your baking, you want to preheat your oven to 350 and preheat your bun pan.
Or whatever pan you decide to use. In a small or medium sized saucepan, add in 1 can of coconut cream. That's 13.5 ounces or 400 milliliters. In goes the sugar. This recipe had 1 1/3 cups. However, we found it a little too sweet for our taste. Next time, we'll likely half that or just use 1 cup of sugar. We will admit that everyone else who tasted the bánh bò really enjoyed the way it tasted as is.
You want to gently warm your saucepan just until the sugar is melted. Don't make it hot because then you don't want this hot. You just want it slightly warm.
As it heats up, you'll notice that it changes color a bit.
To help it cool down, transfer it into another bowl.
Once it's cool, add in 5 eggs.
Now, I'm not sure why this recipe does this, but every recipe I've read requires you to put your eggs in a fine mesh strainer and sift your eggs through. I think it's to break up all the egg whites and stuff because this recipe cannot have clumps.
Yeah, and when we made the recipe with Mom, she did the same thing. So this is just the style. Speaking of Mama, if you are vegetarian like she is, feel free to use vegetarian eggs.
Now be patient. This kind of takes a while. You kind of just want to mix it. You probably want to scrape the bottom to help it go through the sieve. It takes a little bit.
As you can see, she's kind of mashing it and trying to get it through all the little holes.
Now mix it till it's combined with the coconut cream and sugar mixture. The spatula wasn't working very well, so I switched over to a whisk. Now it's very important that you go in one direction, and this is to avoid air bubbles.
And that's what makes you beautiful. Wait, is that One Direction? I don't even know.
Now goes a teaspoon of vanilla extract. I used vanilla bean paste in this, thinking it would be okay because it's like for cookies, it's interchangeable. But in this, you can taste or you can feel the vanilla bean crunchies, so I would use extract. And then you put in a teaspoon of pandan extract. I did a teaspoon because we don't have pandan leaves, so I did a little bit more.
Now, for those of you who do have pandan plants, we believe that you need at least 10 leaves if you're going to use Ryu pandan or layu.
This would be a perfect St. Patty's dessert to make because it's green.
It reminds me of gack. Where are my 80s babies at? Do you remember gack?
You can always use less pandan extract if you actually have pandan leaves. The way that Mom taught us was you do both.
Based on this vibrant color, I would use a little less. As you see here, we have a separate bowl for the dry ingredients. That's going to be 1 cup of tapioca starch. So this is good for all your gluten-free people out there. And you're going to add in 1 packet of single acting baking powder. We use the French one, which is in that pink packet, the Alsa, in a lot of Vietnamese cooking. And then the last thing would be half a teaspoon of salt. Once your dry ingredients are mixed, go ahead and slowly mix it in to all your wet ingredients.
Now it is okay that this is clumpy because then you're going to put it through a sieve. So only go in one direction and go slowly so you're not putting air bubbles in.
Do 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 do. I feel like that's one direction. Somebody help me out here. We're running it through the same strainer into a separate bowl. As you can see, it catches some of the clumps and you're just going to use your whisk to try to squeeze it through the sieve.
Or you can use a spatula. I think the spatula is probably easier than the whisk.
By the looks of it, she's right. Don't listen to what Brian says. Let's run that back one more time through the sieve into the original bowl you had it in. Apparently, this creates that kind of bamboo root look of the cake, or the rechea, as they say.
Now it's time to take your heated bun pan. You can coat it with anything you want. I used coconut oil just because I thought that would help with the flavor, but you can do it with like Spam or butter or whatever.
When Mom originally showed us how to make this, we definitely used the coconut oil. We're just trying to stay consistent here. Look at this technique.
You could probably also use those like basting brushes to help it go on the sides. I did not.
Now again, to create that kind of honeycomb rechea kind of structure and design, you can run it through the sieve again as you pour it into your heated pan. Just make sure your pan is deep enough so that it catches onto the walls as it rises. We've made that mistake once before. Again, look at that vibrant green. I would use a little less coloring next time.
I don't mind how green it is.
Yeah, I'm not hating. It was delicious. You likely don't have to pour it in this circular motion like I did, as it's just going to disperse anyways, but you can. And the more I watch this, the more it reminds me of Slimer from Ghostbusters. Who else remembers Slimer?
Now in it goes to the oven. You want to make sure that you put your rack in the middle so that it's not like in the upper third. It is actually baking in the middle of the oven.
Let it bake for 50 to 60 minutes, and you can always just pull it out to check it around the 50-minute mark with a toothpick.
If it comes out clean, then it's ready. Now, the trick with this is you have to let it cool completely as it's upside down, because if you leave it right side up, your bamboo structure is going to collapse. So you can see this technique that I did here where I put it on a
Cooling rack.
Yeah. And we let it cool for probably an hour, maybe an hour, but it was still warm a little bit, so I would have probably waited a little longer, but we got a little impatient.
Yeah. And it got stuck to the pan, so that's why you see her reaching in there and trying to wiggle it out a little bit.
Yeah, I ripped a little. Sad. But you know what we noticed when we cut the ripped part? You can't tell with this cake because the inside is all bamboo structure-y, so you can't see where it actually ripped. So if it rips, don't worry about it.
Are we getting excited yet? Let's see the final product. Dun, 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 dun.
What's that?
I don't know.
Now look at that beautiful honeycomb structure. We did it. Now, when we let it cool upside down, one side kind of came off the pan, so it didn't, it's not as tall, but still pretty.
You end up slicing it in pieces anyways, so no one really knows. What's funny is the name Bun Ball literally means bun, which is cake, and ball could be crawl, cow, or beef. So the name doesn't make a whole lot of sense. And when we asked Mom and her sister, they just laughed and said, you know, Vietnamese people just name things strange names sometimes. It's delicious though, so if you like our content, subscribe.